Happy Father's Day. Listen. Happy Father's Day. Hi, everyone. I just had to come in today, and I really want to come in to see everyone. You may see my sign a little backwards back there. That's because I have my phone face me so I can see the chat to see when you all come in. So happy Father's Day to everyone. And I just want to chit chat with you all today. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're there. Hi, Dominique. How are you, dear? How are you? Today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of the amazing fathers out there. How is everyone doing? I was going to upload a video, but that wasn't working. So I said, let me go live. Y'all see my little sign back there? It looks backwards because I have my phone face me, so I can see you all come in. We'll be able to update that later. So if y'all see my sign backwards, that's why. The camera, it's the way the camera is. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers. Yes. Even the fathers that, and I wanted to talk about that. But first, I wanted to come and just chat with you all to see, like, if you had a father in your life or, hello, Chosen by Christ 40. Hi, Jacqueline. If you had a father, some of you may not have gotten to know your father. Some of your fathers passed before you were born. Some of you all don't know who your fathers are, to be honest. Let's talk about it now. We don't know who our fathers are, some of us. We only know what our mom told us. Some of you all are finding out your father, who you thought was your father, is not your father, right? So this thing could get complicated. Let's talk about that too. But I wanted to come talk about what is the best memory you had with your father. That's what I want to talk about. Make this a positive spin. We get to chatting. Hi, Coach Monique. How are you, dear? Hey, Kiasha. I'm trying to watch you all come in. How is everyone? I don't know if I need to move my camera up a little bit. So I hope you all had an awesome Father's Day for the ones who had their fathers. And we're going to talk about forgiving fathers too now. We want to talk about forgiveness on this channel because we don't want anyone stuck. I'm going to share some of my story with you all too. I'm going to share some of my story with you all about my father. Right? So I'm waiting for you all to come in. How is everyone doing? You can't deny your dad. He looks just like you, Dominique. He is the father, right? I look like my mom. I look exactly like my mom. So I only know, and my dad is deceased, so I only could go by what she told me and what my daddy said. He said I was his, so I'm his daughter. Oh, sorry to hear that, Morgan. That's okay. We still have our heavenly Father. Although my dad was there, and I'll tell you all about it. Although he was there, he still went through his challenges. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, D. What happened? Is he sick? Sick. Yeah. So I'm trying to see your comments. as they come in, I'm gonna put my camera up a little because I was gonna do a video, but I said let me go live and talk to the chosen ones. Oh, there it is. That's better, so I can sit back. I got my little setup over here. Y'all see my little setup? I got me a little pillow. I had one of my old coworkers. Look, I had one of my old coworkers to try to get my little branding right, and I ordered this sign from this company. If you all need some, if you all need. Oh, I understand that, D. I understand that. It's hard. It is. And we're gonna talk about that too, Dominique. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna be here a little minute now. But what I want to talk about, I at least want to start off with the good. I don't want to, I don't want to make this out of like a little bashing live or anything like that. But I want it to come for us to share our, best memory of our father. If you don't have a best memory, that's okay. That's okay. Because we're going to talk about how you can just release your parents, release your father. You can release them, Yep. I'm sorry to hear that, Cheryl. This is a dress, D. I love my dresses. You guys are going to find something out about me. But listen, this is what I want to talk about. I wanted to come share with you all, like, one of my best memories about my dad. And I talked to you. And I mentioned this before in the previous video. My dad, he did the best he could, before he got addicted to, crack cocaine. I have good memories with him. I also have some bad memories because my dad used to lie to me. Listen, he used to lie to me with a straight face. And I think he used to lie because, when you become addicted to drugs, we don't understand the spiritual implications. When you develop like a drug habit and you don't really have like a strong relationship, with your Heavenly Father to kind of teach, guide, and mold you, you tend to fall, to your own way, right? And that's what I had to learn later on to forgive my dad because he used to lie to me so much. My dad used to lie to me. I'm like, I don't believe nothing this man's saying until I see what he said he was going to do. Then I'll believe him. But he used to lie, as a child, you get your hopes up high and then he don't come through, Oh, thank you, D. You get your hopes up high, then, he doesn't come through. But I can say my daddy wasn't like evil. He just had an addiction. And I've learned over time, whenever you have an addiction to a substance abuse, that thing takes control of you. Not only does the addiction take control, you open your spirits up to different demonic forces. So that's what happened with him. I learned later to forgive him and move on. But one of the best memories I had of my dad, when he took me to, I think it was a Christmas parade. We walked to this Christmas parade because the parade wasn't too far from, where he lived. And we walked, I think I was like 8 years old, maybe 8 or 9. And we walked to the parade. And that was my first time seeing a horse poop. Just imagine a 9-year-old, you seeing the horse poop, and the horse poop like, it was like a mountain. Like, I'm like, what is he doing? And then I saw him, pee, and the pee was like a river. I'm like, oh my goodness, I was kind of excited to see that, Well, as a 9-year-old, I was kind of excited, to see that. So that was one of my best memories because we got to, walk together and talk, and he would tell me stories about when I was younger, how, and let me tell you something I regret. I'm going to come tell you all this because I just want to be transparent, right? I want to be transparent. When I come online, I don't want to be someone that seems to be, I'm very private, but when I'm led by my heart to say different things, I have to tell you all, right? So, oh, I understand, Dominique. Oh, trust me, I understand. So let me tell you, what I was talking about. Oh, So one thing I regret though, I remember, because I told you my dad used to lie to me so much. I remember he lied to me about something. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you all. That he said that I used to love money. He nicknamed me Money. That's my nickname, right? I shouldn't have told y'all that. That's too private. But he used to call me Money. That was my nickname because he said that I would only hold on to like the big bills, the $100 bills or the 50s, He said I didn't want the 5s, the 10s, and the 20s. He said I would hold the big bills. I think he said that I didn't like the $1 bills. But I know he said I used to hold tight to the big bills when I was a baby. I was a little old baby. And I had a picture. I had 2 pictures when I was a baby with me holding money. I have one in my picture album. I need to make copies of it. Then I had another one with him holding me on the picture. Let me tell you. I had another one, but I was so mad. Yes, Dominique, the big bills. Okay, the Benjamins. But I was mad at him because he lied to me about something I don't even remember. And this is what I want to talk to you about too. You have to forgive your parents. You have to forgive your fathers. But he lied to me about something. And I got mad at him. And that was the only picture I had of me and my dad. That was the only picture I had. I think I was in my teens. I'm trying to see how old I was. Maybe it was 13, 14. Nope. It had to be before that. I think it had to be before that. I was about 12. I want to say 12, 13 is in that age. But I cut the only picture I had of me and my dad, he was holding me and I had money in my hand. I cut that picture in half. I cut that picture in half. And I called myself keeping the picture together, but I ended up losing the picture. I ended up losing the piece where I cut him off. And that, after my dad passed, years later, I kind of regretted that because that was the only picture I had with me and him together. I regret that. I really do. I didn't want to tell you all that, but I regret it because me and my dad became a little, we became close. We always been close. We had our little ups and downs and stuff, and due to his drug habit. But for the most part, I was more close to my dad than my mom. Yep. I did. I told her, yep, I cut it in half, Cheryl, because I was upset with them. And I ended up losing I actually ended up losing both of those pieces. And I meant to reach out to my aunt to see that she have any pictures of, my dad, because that was the only one I had of him. And I cut it up, and I ended up losing it. But I'm sure somebody in the family has pictures, but I need to reach out to my aunt. But anyways, you have to I forgave myself for it, because you do, one thing, when you're young, you do things and you don't think. And that's why I used to tell my children, I tell my son this, right now, my 12-year-old, I say, don't get so upset with your parents, your mom and your dad. Don't get so upset with them and you do things that you'll regret later, right? You do things out of anger that you're going to regret later. Although, I was young and I didn't understand and I had the mind of a 12 or 11-year-old. But I teach my son, don't say things that you don't say things and do things out of anger that you may regret later on. I try to teach them that. I try to teach my kids, from my mistakes. Yep. I try to teach them, from my mistakes so they won't have any, regrets, of just doing things out of anger, But yeah, that's what I did. I really did. But I forgave him because me and my dad, we were very close after that. I used to go, unfortunately, he fell very ill and, he passed away. But we were very close. I had a close relationship with him. He never really, forgot about me. He never forgot about me. He always used to be so proud of me. So I do miss him. Yeah, I do miss him. He died young too. Yeah, he was young. When I looked at his death certificate, I cried. A couple years ago, I looked at his death certificate. He was young. He was 41. When you're younger, when I was younger, I thought 41 was older. But when I reached 41, right, I'm like, 41, that's young, Because when you're younger, you think in your 40s, that's old age. I think I was 19 when he passed away. So that seemed old, but it's not. And I cried. Yep, I really cried. Yep. So I just want to come talk about Father's Day too. You got to forgive your father. Some of you all, I know it's hard. Like some of you mentioned, your parents are evil, your fathers are evil, mothers are evil. And you just have to pray and ask God to, fill that void. Fill that void, because it says, can addictions obstruct us from being chosen? If you're chosen, you're chosen, Ted. I don't think so, because chosen ones go through different things like that too. Chosen ones go through addictions and different things, because if they're not born to parents that understand spiritual things and that can see that light on them, that understands them, and to make it to where they're accepted, like to make them, to accept them for their gifts, and where they don't seem like they're crazy. It's easy to turn to drugs, because you're trying to numb that gift that you have. You're trying to numb that spiritual gift that you have, because some people could see stuff and they think they're crazy. Some of these people who get addicted, they hear voices and they think they're crazy. That's before they get on the drugs. They get on the drugs to try to silence the voice or to try to stop, what they see. But that's not the wise thing to do. They just need to know that they're not crazy and that they have a gift. Yeah, that's what they need to know. Because most chosen ones are in mental health institutions. That's my opinion. There's no, everybody want to say where is the research and what they like to say, where is your facts or your Oh wow, Dominique. Yeah, I believe most yeah, I really do. But yeah. So what are some of your best memories with your dads? And unfortunately, some of us don't have good memories. Some people have been abused by their fathers. And this is where you have to allow your spiritual father, your heavenly father, to come in and ease the pain, to come in to fill that void of wanting a father. Because to be honest, if we don't have our natural fathers in our lives, to be honest, because God gave the fathers the job to teach us, right? To instruct us. They are supposed to be the protectors, the teachers, the providers. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to be leading us to the ways and helping us remember, spiritual things. And a lot of dads are out of alignment. And I'm not trying to blame men for anything, but I would like to say that, I would dare say and stand on it, that because so many men are out of order in their place, in their headship, that's why the children are running rampant. That's why we're, even women, that's why we're running wild. If the fathers was in their role, right? If the father was in their role, if they were connected to God, how he instructed them to be, right? And I can understand why most men, especially, and this is not to make an excuse, especially black men, I can understand why they don't want to, have anything to do with God, based on, you got to go back to history, based on history, how things were set up, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 40s, okay? I don't want to go there, but based on what happened back in the time of enslavement, a lot of, black men didn't want to have anything to do with God and church or any of that. And that's understandable. But there comes a time where even if you don't go to church, you have to ask God to guide you as a father. Guide you as a father so you could lead. That can't be an excuse for you not to be the headship over your families, your children. That's not an excuse. You have to seek God for yourself. Even if you don't go to church, you can invite him right into your home. You don't have to go. Even if you don't go to church, what are you doing? Are you opening the word for yourself as the dad to lead as God to show you and guide you to the right way. Yep, to guide you the right way. And to give you the wisdom and knowledge that, that you don't have. Oh, wow. Dominique, yeah, he was angry himself. He had a lot of abuse. You know what? He had somebody to probably do him like that. Somebody probably abused your dad, and that's all he know, you know? Yeah. And that's another thing, I talked about it yesterday. Some of our parents, they trauma parent, you know? They trauma parent because their parents did not have the true and, they didn't have the true wisdom on how to parent. Somebody taught them how to trauma parent. So they passed that down to, you all. They passed it down to us. Because, some of our parents beat us with this extension cords and water hoses and all kind of sticks and pots and, and it really don't take all of that. It don't take all of that now. But guess what? They got it from somewhere. They got it from, they got it from their way of coming up. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, Dominique. Yeah, he don't supposed to be doing that. Yeah. And she's just so used to it. She's just so caught up and so, used to, she's used to that abuse. Yes, it's up to us, D. Yeah. It's up to us to stop that extension cords and all that. But we can go on and on about this, but we have to be able to forgive because, we got to think about our parents' upbringing. That don't give them a right to abuse, right? That don't give them a right to abuse any of us. They don't give them a right to abuse their children, to repeat the cycles, right? That don't give them that. But it's either you forgive them or you hold on to that anger and that bitter and it makes you sick. And then you hold on it for so long, you repeat the cycle without even knowing. Because sometimes we don't want to end up like our parents. But guess what? Some of us end up just like our parents. And you know why? Because you haven't forgiven them. You haven't forgiven them. Some of us said, I never do this like my parents, parent did. And sometimes you turn out doing that exact thing. You turn out doing that exact thing. My grandmother had a saying. She always said, God will make a lie out of you. So don't never say what you wouldn't do. Don't ever say what you wouldn't do. My grandmother said, God will make a lie out of you. And when I tell you, she wasn't lying. She was not lying at all. So D. Yeah, sometimes you will never know, D. Sometimes you will never know why, and that's another thing. Like, sometimes we try to get in the head of people and try to understand why they are that way. And we will never know why they're that way. Because we wasn't there. We were not there when they were being brought up. And then if you go back to your parents, what year they were born in, you got to cut them some slack. Because if they were raised, if they was born in the 50s, the 60s, if they were born in the 40s, they're probably old if they're born in the 40s. But if they're born in the 50s and 60s, you got to understand where they're coming from. And this is not an excuse. I'm not trying to make an excuse for no abuse. None of that. No trauma parenting. I'm not trying to make excuses for all that. But it's up to us to put a mirror up to our parents sometimes to make them look at what they're doing is wrong. And sometimes, they don't want to hear it because, they were brought up with this, I'm the parent and I know what I'm doing mentality. And that's not the mentality to have. They were brought up in this, I'm always right mentality. You can't tell me what to do because I'm grown. I'm the oldest, I'm the mom. But sometimes you have to be bold as a child. You have to be bold and stand up to your parent. Just because you see parents, our ancestors and our parents made us feel like, because, and I didn't do this with my children. Growing up, most of us were silenced, right? Most of us were silenced, and we couldn't express ourselves. We couldn't explain ourselves. Like, we couldn't say what we felt, or we couldn't say. We were shut down. So growing up, most of us were silenced, right? Most of us were silenced. So we couldn't really say what was on our mind, or say, Mom, that's not how it happened. You're wrong. Or, Mom, watch your tone. I don't like when you say it this way. What I was going to say is, most of us was brought up that if we tell our parents they are wrong, or that's a form of disrespect, we was brought up to believe that's disrespecting our parents, because we said something back to them, as far as telling them, Mom, I don't like when you talk to me like that. Or, Mom, I'm not going to let you talk to my child that way. Or, or Dad, not just Mom, Dad, I'm not going to let you talk to my child that way. Or, Dad, you just too harsh. You got to know how to talk. You don't know how to talk. Yeah. And we were brought up thinking, because we wanted to tell our parents, or try to tell our parents, that them yelling at us made us feel, was he the oldest push to purpose? Or if he was born in 49, oh yes, he got some stuff he got to pray for. If he was born in 49, oh, he definitely got some, he don't seen some stuff. He don't seen some stuff. Got to have a little compassion too for our parents. I know they could be hard. Trust me. Listen, if you're talking to someone who's seen their mama and their dad do some things, you hear me? I've learned to have more grace and mercy. Was he the oldest push to purpose? Because if he was the oldest, oh yes, he's going to have a whole bunch of issues, because all that responsibility was put on that poor man to take care of the other siblings. He's probably upset about that, if he was the oldest. There's a lot of pressure put on that firstborn, a lot of responsibility. Sometimes it make them, and sometimes it'll break them. Sometimes it'll make the firstborn, or sometimes it'll break them. And just because you have compassion for your parents don't mean that you have to allow abuse. That's my thing. You don't have to allow abuse. I remember I used to work in healthcare. I worked in healthcare, mostly on the administrative side, and I remember visiting this one gentleman in his room. He had all this money on him, because I had to go deal a lot with the patient sometimes. He had so much money on him, and I went to talk to him to tell him, if he don't put his money in the safe, that he was going to be responsible if somebody took it or stole it, or he was going to be responsible, because we used to oh, that's wise, D. Keep your distance. So I told him, I was like, because if something happened, we were not going to be responsible for it. And I explained it to him, and I went to talk to him, and he was angry, man. He was sickly. He was an angry man. I felt, to be honest, when I went in that room, I felt that tension. I felt that anger on him. I knew I was about to deal with somebody. I'm gonna be honest. I knew I was dealing with somebody who was angry. And when I went in there, oh wow, poor baby, push the purpose. So when I went in the room, he was just talking. And he was like talking, he was going at it. I can't stand when people have that anger and aggression on them. I can feel that. I don't like that type of, I don't like being around people who got all that I can feel that. He had that on him. But I had to keep my professional face. Had to be professional, you know, and I listened. I'm like, Lord, give me the grace. And that's when I used to pray and fast too. You know, I used to pray and fast around that time. So I was able to deal with it. But the story is, he was talking about his mom. Ooh, he talked about his mom like the lady was living. I thought the lady was gonna come visit him any day now. How he talked about his mother. And come to find out, his mother had been dead 20 years. Yes, the lady had been dead 20 years. And he was talking about this lady as if she talked to him yesterday. Hi, Clarissa. Look, he was talking about his mama like this lady was downstairs in the lobby waiting on him. Listen, he was talking. He was like, my mama. And he was using some choice words. I can't get into all of that. I'm going to stay with the story, the basic story. But he was using some choice words. And he talked about his mom, how his mom made him take care of his brother. That's why I asked you, push the purpose. That's why I asked that question, because I thought about this story. Say his mom made him take care of his brother, like his brother was a king, a so-and-so king. So I'm not going to say the word. He was like a so-and-so. And he was still upset with his mom. And I asked him where his mom was. And he said his mom had been dead almost 20 years at that time. This was like 5 years ago. What I'm talking about, the story. But his mom had been dead 20 years. When I asked them, you know, in the room, where was his mom? But my point was, he was so angry and it was making him sick. And he was still mad at his mother. And he was on this side of earth. And that lady in the grave turned over, probably sleeping good. She probably don't repent it. I don't know if she did, but she probably don't repent it and, you know, ask God to forgive her. And he's still on this side of earth, upset. But I found out he had passed away though. And I hope he got his soul right. I hope he forgave her. Because that wasn't a life to live, so angry, you know, at your mom. And she's gone. She's gone. And you spending all your years and your time mad at your mom. So we got to forgive our parents. I forgave my dad. I forgave my dad and I forgave my mom. And I was more so mad at my mom than my dad. Because as girls, because, you know, me and my dad, we spent time together. We spent a lot of time together. So I was more so mad at him than, more so mad at my mom than my dad. Because my dad, we spent a lot of time together. I was around him a lot when I was younger. But yeah. And it is hard. You know, it's hard to forgive your dad. You know? It's hard. That's why a lot of women, I ain't gonna say just women, but children, period, but mostly women, since we're talking about fathers, that's why women are so out of place, because a lot of them never really had their dads to teach them and mold them and, you know, tell them how to, you know, navigate through life. And that is what makes it hard for children, period. When you don't have that affirmation from your father, when you're a fatherless generation, when you're fatherless, that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to navigate when you don't have your natural father. But you got to know, just because you don't have your natural father, you have your spiritual father. And he'll fill the voids and the he said he'll be the father to the fatherless. Yep. He said he'll be the father. And that's true. Let me tell you. Because with me, you know, my mom wasn't in my life. And that bothered me. I felt like I was missing something. You know, I used to look at the other girls with their, you know, moms. And, you know, they used to have fun. And my mom this, my mom that. I'm going out with my mom. I never got that. So I felt like I was missing something. So that's why I became the mom that I was. I became the mom that I was because I didn't have what I wanted. But God never failed me, because he sent me 2 loving grandmothers. He sent women throughout my life, throughout different seasons in my life, to help me and to mold me and to give me the information that I need. Yes, I still felt some things still fell through the cracks, but the most important thing, he sent women in my life to guide me along my way. Yep. And still to this day, he's still sending mother figures in my life. To this day. Yep, to this day. Yep. He'll send the right people. And I know we want our natural parents to be there for us, but sometimes God be protecting us from them. He be protecting us from our natural parents because he knows that the enemy is using them against, especially the chosen ones. Some of your own parents. Exactly. Chosen by Christ for it. Yeah. Got to make different choices. Sometimes he'll move you all from your parents because he know if you stay with your parent. I heard a girl said that her own father molested her. I don't want to say that word. I don't know if you two gonna ding it, but her own father, abused her. Yeah. Father and stepfather. She's very well known. She talks about it all the time. And she still had to forgive them. She still forgave them. Yep. And I know it's hard because these people are supposed to be the ones to love you, right? Same thing with grandparents. I read a story about this teenager, this girl, say both of her grandparents, abused her. Both of them, granddad and grandmother. Yep. So I don't know if my camera clean. And these supposed to be the people to, protect us. Oh, wow. But yeah. God will fill in. He'll fill in for us. He'll be the father for us. And it is hard because, especially for women, if you don't have a male there, that's why most women end up in abusive relationships, or because they're seeking that validation, from their dad. That's why they stay in toxic relationships and end up with toxic men, because of that validation. They're looking for what they think. They're looking for what they think a father is in a man. And only God can fill that void. You have to allow God to fill that void. Oh yeah, that's the wise thing to do, push the purpose. Yeah, love them from a distance. And that's what people don't understand. You can still respect your parents and honor them. You don't have to subject yourself to abuse and mistreatment and disrespect, because some of these parents are set in their ways and they only see from their point of view. They only see like this. And there's a whole nother world around their little narrow thinking and narrow, window. And if they don't get it, you have to just distance yourself. You have to know you. You have to know what you're willing to tolerate, and you can't feel guilty, because sometimes we feel guilty because our upbringing is so instilled in us. Sometimes we have to unlearn some of the things that we've been taught, because everything we've been taught is not truth. Everything we've been taught is not right. And that's the hardest thing to unlearn, the very thing that you were taught all of your life. That's the only thing you know. That's why it's good to read and get new information and see where you can apply, right? See where you can apply new information. See where you can apply new information. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I talk about healing chosen by Christ. We do that. You know, that's okay. But you learn. The thing is that you're learning. We do that. We make decisions based off our emotions. And see, the enemy, the devil likes to keep you. He likes to keep you emotional. That's how he get us, the people look like me. Let me tell y'all something. The people that looks like me, the media, that's why I'm watching media. The media can incite us to anger at the drop of a dime. They can incite us to anger at a drop of a dime. And they've been doing it for years. They know what to put on TV. They know what to say. They know what show. They know what to put out there. Because we're easily moved. Because we're emotional. You know, we've been through so much as a group of people to keep us in that state. They know what to show us. They know what to do. They know what to say. What happened to all them people on the boat? They don't play that on people, all them people that were on the boat. They showed that on the media, kept showing it. Then we don't know where them folks at. We don't know where them folks at now. We don't know where all them folks ended up in Texas, where they came from and where they ended up. Where are they now? The media likes to keep us emotionally stuck. We'll never be able to gain power and get out because we stay too emotional. And the enemy knows that. The enemy knows it. Keep us emotionally stuck. A lot of the stuff that goes on in the world, no, it's not right. It's not right. And you're supposed to do, when you're led to speak up and do what you need to do, when God put that righteous indignation in you and he tell you to move, you move on that. You don't move on what the media trying to get you to move on. Because they ain't of God. I don't care what nobody say. The media is what it's supposed to be doing. The media is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We got to learn how to get out of our emotions and think with logic. Think with logic. Think with sense. If you didn't see it on TV, you wouldn't even be concerned about it. The enemy is using the media. Been using it for years. But we so mesmerized and hypnotized with it. But yeah, forgive your dad. Forgive your dad. If you have your dad here on earth, appreciate him. Thank him. Thank him. Trying to focus on the good things that he did do. Because fathers are needed. Fathers are needed. I think the enemy right now is at work. He's at work in men. He got them so focused on other things than focusing on themselves and focusing on what God wants them to do. Because you see a lot of them out here, they're just as lost. They have no direction because they're not following the order of God. They're following their own fleshly desires, what they think is right. This is how women's supposed to be. This is how no, that's not how it goes. If you're not following God and doing, at least trying to, not just using God as a way to manipulate people more, but if you don't have a relationship with him, a personal relationship with him, you're out of order as a man. Yeah, out of order. That's why we out of order. That's why the women are running wild. I mentioned this in another video. That's why the women and the children are running wild. Because the headship is running wild. Now, Ted Jordan is not women and drugs. He's got to look at that person in the mirror. Disobedience. It's easy to blame others. Oh yeah, he got to look at him. He got to look at himself, Dominique. That's what we don't want to do. It's easy to blame someone else. And see, it could have been easy. My thing is, see, when I come here and I talk I don't talk from a place of having excuses and blaming people, because it could have been easy to blame my mom and dad. Because as long as I can remember, both my mom and dad, they were not married. I came here in this world out of wedlock, born into dysfunction, born into chaos. Mom and daddy been on crack. I was born into this world. Since I could remember 5. I don't think I was a crack baby. I don't think I had drugs in me when I was born. Some of my siblings did though, but I didn't have, cocaine in my blood when I was born. But I could blame them. I could say my mama is the reason I made decisions. My dad is the reason I did this. My dad is the reason I, fornicated. Like my dad is the reason. He wasn't there for me. I could blame my parents, but no, I'm an adult, and I see, instead of blaming my parents, let me look at myself. Let me see where I could do some changing. Let me see what I can do to change my situation. Because we don't have no victims over here. Ain't no victims mentality over here. We're going to look at how we could do. If you know your parents, your dad abusive, you don't have to go around them. You can make a decision not to go around your dad. Exactly. That's what the enemy is doing too, Cheryl. Yeah. That's why if the man, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said earlier. That's why if the man, if he tapped into really building a relationship with God, right? And not with religion. If he got him a relationship and sought and to seek out his heavenly Father like God requires them to, he'll get the understanding and wisdom he needs. But we allow our pain, frustration, cares of the world, they allow too much to, stop them. To stop them from doing that. Because God is the source. The men need him. Men need God to guide not only him, but to help him guide his family and his wife. Mm-hmm. I need me to clean off my. Exactly. See, you, Dominique, that's smart. You remove yourself. Look, you remove yourself. You don't blame anyone. You know what you got to do. That's why I said we have to unlearn some of this stuff, because we think we have to subject ourselves to abuse and our parents. And, if they're abusive, you don't have to subject yourself to that. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to teach your parents. Sometimes the children got to parent the parent. And it shouldn't be that way, but it shouldn't be that way, but that's how it is. Kids growing up parenting the parents. Yeah, you have to. It's okay. And see, we were not taught that because, there was a lot that we can get into. And that's sad, Dominique. Unfortunately, if it's that bad, sometimes, you just have to pray and, ask God to just give you peace with that, Because I understand. Look, I don't judge people's situations, because I know, listen, I don't judge people's situations, because I know some of these parents so mean and got hell in them for no reason. And they take all that frustration out on their children. I know some parents like this. I'm telling y'all. This ain't, I don't judge people's situations, because if you're not in a person's situation, you can't say what they shouldn't do. My only thing is, I tell people to be responsible for, I teach them how to be responsible for them. As long as you're at peace with your decision, you have to be at peace with that. You have to be led by God, have God to lead you in your decisions. And guess what? It's not going to look like no one else's decision. People got to understand that just because you got a loving father, you got a loving mother, everybody don't have that. You got a loving, close-knit family. Everybody don't have that. So you can't say, I never, because, you get some people, they try to make you feel bad, but like, I never not be there for my mom. I never not be there for my dad. No, you may not, you may be there for your parents. But Johnny in the corner over here, his mother got some mental health issues she didn't deal with, and it's hard for him to be around his own mother. She caused too much damage. Hey, Michelle. Exactly, Cheryl. That's what you can say, yeah, especially for the fatherless ones. For the fatherless ones, this is a day to establish a relationship, which you shouldn't have to wait until this day. It should be an ongoing thing, but this is a good time to seek God and ask him to fill those voids. This is a good time to use this day to really seek God so he can fill you up spiritually. Everybody's situation. One thing about my grandmother used to tell me, keep living, baby. Told me that. I remember, keep living. You don't know what a person is going through. You can't judge. And I have people also say, I never turn my back on my child. You got people say this. I was one of them ones, and I mention this a lot. You can't judge people's situation. You cannot judge a person's situation. And it's not you turning your back. It's that, what are you willing to tolerate? You don't have to subject yourself to disrespect. Just the same as a parent. A parent don't have to subject themselves to a disrespectful child, to a child that's trying to force them to believe what they believe, to a child that's trying to force them to take on some ideology that they don't believe, and vice versa. There sometimes got to be a mutual respect. People don't know how to come to a mutual agreement. Like, no, I don't like what you're doing. You don't like what I do. But we respect and we still love each other. Love don't mean that I got to like what you do. But people want to make you not love them because they want to try to force you and disrespect you because you believe the way you believe. Exactly. Push the purpose. My grandma told me to keep living. And I know what she meant by that. When you keep living, you're going to see life going to handle you. Look, life going to handle you. Life going to deal with you. And that's okay. Exactly. Push the purpose. Like, people got to learn that nobody don't like to be told what to do. Let's just say that. That's why people don't want to believe that God is real. Because, see, God got standards. He got standards and laws that we have to abide by. And people don't want to abide by laws. They want to do what they want to do. They want to do what they want to do. Yes, life going to be life. Life going to life. They want to, and they want to do what they want to do. So they want to disqualify God and disqualify the Bible. That's what they want to do because they don't want to take instructions. They don't want nobody telling them this is wrong, that is wrong. That's why they try to rewrite the word to fit, to make, if you don't believe in the Bible, you don't believe in God, leave that as it is. Don't try to change the word to fit to what you want to do with your perversion. If you pervert it, be that. Don't try to change the word of God to fit Your narrative. Because you can change it. You can change it all you want. And his word's still going to stand. Whether we want to believe it and like it or not. And that's what we do as people. If something don't, if somebody don't agree with us, if somebody stand for something, whatever they standing on, they want to change that very thing that is standing on. They want to change. That's what they were talking about, changing the Constitution. You can't, you got to leave that how it is. That was put in place for a reason. You can't be trying to change stuff because you don't like what it stands for. But anyways, we ain't gonna go there because we'll be on that. We'll be on that all day. But yeah, people got to learn to be okay. Like, and that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants people to be divided. Want families to be divided because you need unity. You need unity and support to move freely and to move sincerely. You need family. You do need people. You need the right people. And the enemy don't want that. The enemy don't want that. He don't want people being on one accord. He don't want people believing, in the same God. That's why you got so many different religions and stuff going on. He don't want families. He don't want family units. That's why he raising up these devils in every family. He raising up these devils in every family, causing havoc in the family, going through the family, creating chaos. Instead of creating unity, they creating chaos, putting one against the other. Parent putting one child against the other with these narcissistic moms and dads. The enemy getting these people, right, to create that type of foolishness. So there won't be any unity. You still can have unity in a family, even if you're divorced. You still can have unity. Because you can still let that man be the father and you can still let the mother be the mother. And y'all, the job is to raise them children the best y'all know how. Try to be on one accord to get the children raised. Yes. It still can be unity. Because the main goal is them children. Making sure them children, you raise them to be functioning adults that can take care of themselves. Yep. Functioning adults take care of themselves. So, but the father's got to be the one to lead. See, the fathers are not in place in their rightful place. Headship, that's spiritual headship. Spiritually, this is a spiritual thing I'm talking about. I'm not blaming dads. I'm not pointing the finger at all. But they have to be in alignment with God. So God can give them the wisdom to lead the family, to lead their wife and children. That's why you got these women raising up, out of order. Leading the homes, and they're not supposed to. Now, if they don't have any other choice, that's different. But if the man was in his rightful place spiritually and not playing around with God, not doing what he want to do and pretending, you would have to. We wouldn't have to be going through all of this. Exactly. You have to believe it. That we've been going through all of this. Yep, the women shouldn't be the ones to, be leading the families and taking the, children to church and trying to, instill spiritual principles in them. The women shouldn't be the ones doing that. The man's supposed to be leading the family and all of that. The woman is the woman. The wife's supposed to be the co-person, not the leader. She's not supposed to be the lead. She's supposed to be the co-person to make sure everything is in order. Yep, that's why I think we're just out of order. And that's why I think the world is, and it's biblical too. I won't just blame it on, the men not being in order. It's biblical. The co-pilot. Yes, push the purpose. The co-pilot. And I'm gonna say something, and we may not like this, but I'm talking based on my opinion and based on what I see. Right? This is based on what I see. But what I see, especially in church, when I go to a mixed church, but basically what I see other races, like other races of men. I'm not going to say what race, other races of men, trying to lead, leading their family, trying to lead their family the best way they know how, in the things of God. But I don't see a lot of us. I don't see a lot of men that look like, the same color as me, leading, their families in the things of God. In a loving and kind way, not in a domineering, forceful, way how they were brought up. Like, I don't see that. I don't see that. And I noticed too, like a lot of other cultures, and all the other cultures, the men, I see that they're trying to get more information to learn how to parent, to be a good father. They go to parenting seminars and listen to other ministers to teach them, because some of them never had fathers either. Some of them never had fathers, but they're trying to learn from other spiritual, leaders on how to parent. Parent the godly way, try to raise their kids up. Because there's statistics. Whenever a man in the home and he's leading the family to God, most likely that entire family gonna be loving the Lord. But when a woman is there trying to lead, some children may love God, some may not. Some may, listen, some may love the faith and walk in the faith and the things of God, and some may not. They're going to go their own way. They're going to go and do what they want to do. Some going to get it, some not. But when that man is leading at home and telling the family, this is what we're going to do, you best believe them kids going to get it together. Because that's authority. A man has an authority that women would never have. I don't care what we say. I don't care how much money we make. You're not a man. You'll never be a man. He has an authority when he's led the right way. And I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about anger. But when he's led the right way, if he's getting wisdom from God, even the toxic ones, But I'm talking about the ones who are being led by God fully. They have an authority. They have an authority that they can get anybody in the house to do what it is that they need to be done. But they have to be walking in their wisdom and they have to be walking with God. That man is the leader. And a lot of men out there passing that responsibility off on the women. Now, y'all gonna have to eat that one. Y'all gonna have to eat that. Because if you were in your right place, if you were in your right authority, your right place, women wouldn't be acting like this. Y'all, them women will be doing what they're supposed to do. They'll have some sense out here. Because y'all out of order. That's why they running wild. Girls going wild out here. Because they don't have no headship. They ain't got nobody telling them. The women, we doing what we think is right. Because there's no order. There's no man there. Either a husband or a father. Either a husband or the father. However you want to cut it. Because see, y'all pass off the blame. If it ain't the husband, her dad. Is he in his rightful place? Do he fear the Lord? That's why you have to seek wisdom. Push the purpose. That's what they supposed to be seeking God. We don't all know. I didn't get full training on how to be a mom. Because I didn't have one. My grandmother raised me the best she could and showed me what she could. And it was other stuff I had to learn on my own and ask God to show me how to do this. And still I'm learning. I don't have it all together as a mother. I don't know everything. I tell my kids, y'all don't put all that pressure on me because I don't be knowing everything. I'm learning too. I know how to find my answers, but I don't always make the right decisions and choices. I'm not perfect, but I do know how to apologize. If I do wrong, I know how to apologize. I know how to go and correct my wrong, or I know how to apologize for my wrong. I don't just say that's just how I am. I don't just do all that. And another thing, exactly, Cheryl. Exactly. Yeah, because it is a lot. I'm not going to say it's not a lot for a man. It is. And that's why they supposed to see. It's a lot for a man. It's hard for them. Especially they're trying to carry that weight themselves. They were not built to carry all that weight. That's why they're supposed to be communing with God. That's why they're supposed to get their wisdom for God so God can take some of that weight, right? So he can take some of that weight off them. That's out of order. Push the purpose. And sometimes, and it can go a lot of ways because sometimes the men been raised in households where their mothers emasculated, especially if they're single moms. We can go. And I'm not blaming the single mom at all. But it depends on the dynamics of their home. See, he have to stand up. See, he have to stand up to her. Because she's going to use that to her advantage. She's going to use that to her advantage. And that's not how it's supposed to be. You shouldn't be afraid, You shouldn't be afraid. You should be able to communicate. And I understand everybody, it does get tiresome. Listen, it gets tiresome when you're dealing with the person who don't want to work on the relationship with you. Don't want to work on the marriage with you. It gets tiresome. That's why it's good to seek God before. That's where we make the mistake. We do what we want to do, and then we want to bring God in on the back end. No, you supposed to put God in the beginning, so He can tell you, no, this not love, y'all lustful. So He can tell you, y'all, this is not true love. Y'all just, little hot bunnies. Look, y'all little hot bunnies. Oh yeah, that's not good. That's not good for the bloodline either. Push the purpose. They just creating more spiritual, spiritual curses, bloodline curses. That's not good at all. That is not good. And we are, unfortunately, we're going through things because of our mothers and fathers. And that's the thing. These kids don't know that the reason they're going through things because of what their parents did. What their parents did, creating all these generational curses. I thought about something that was deep for me and my children and their dad. It's the same. It was the same pattern that I saw on both sides, which I won't mention here, but I'll just tell you it was the pattern that I saw on both sides of my children's bloodline. And I'm trying to break that as much as I could. It's the same pattern. I don't understand you, Dominique. Why are there chosen ones? Yeah, push the purpose. What is your question, Dominique? And that's not the right thing to do. That's not the right thing to do. She'll be surprised if somebody else, if he come and give her that divorce. And somebody else out there swoop him up and treat him right. Yeah, that's not the right thing to do. And Dominique, you're supposed to be different. We're all supposed to be different. We have to embrace our difference. The world has taught us. That's why I didn't like school. That's why I didn't like public school system. Because, they have you doing everything everybody else is doing. Like, if you coloring or if you, if your teacher tell you to do something and, you add a little more something to your picture or something, you color it different, they make you feel like you did it wrong because your picture don't look like everyone else. But God didn't intend for us to be like everyone else. That's why our fingerprints are different. We have to learn to embrace our difference, especially our awkwardness. We have to embrace being awkward and weird, not thinking like everybody else, not liking what everybody else like, not listening to. We're different. We're different. Incest is a spirit, Dominique. That's why we'll never be able to understand it. God, God forbid incest in His word. What is that, Leviticus? Where He was telling, not to sleep with your mom and dad and father-in-law and all that, because that brings about curses. Not only do you got physical incest, you got spiritual incest too. You got spiritual incest. You got, emotional. That's what they call emotional incest. We talked about it. With some of these parents, how they emotionally tied to their daughters and sons in a way that you think, if you didn't know better, you would think they were sleeping around, because they have this emotional, weird attachment, to their children and grandchildren, and that's nasty. Like, it's a lot to deal with, it's a lot to deal with. That's why you have to ask God for wisdom. Yeah, it's nasty, Dominique. Like, you'll be thinking like, I know she's not, You know, in your head, you be like, I know she ain't sleeping with her own child. But you got some people that do it. You got some people that do it. But that emotional is just as worse. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's disgusting. And most of those parents who do that, they got mental issues. And in their mind, they're justified because they feel like if that's their child, they should be able to do anything they want to do with that child. Because they treat their child as if that child is property and not not a human in their own right. No, you'll never get it because that's a spiritual thing, Dominique. That's a very demonic, nasty. It's nasty and it's evil. Because you're not giving that child a chance to stand on their own. She needs to be delivered. She needs help. She needs help. And there's nothing wrong with going out, hanging with your son and, enjoying your children, but you got to see what type of emotional state you're coming from. Are you dating this child as if that's your husband? You making him feel like, mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to, yeah. It's crazy. Let me say that. Exactly. Exactly, Cheryl. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's just what they are, Cheryl. I'm chosen by Christ 40. Yeah. And it's sad too. It's so sad. Then sitting there, especially the moms or dads, they get in these children's head and manipulate them and make them feel like it's sick. I don't even want to get on that. It's sick. Let me just say that. Chosen. Covert, hidden. Dominique, that's what it means. Covert means to be hidden. You kind of sneak and do it. You kind of quiet. You're not really out there like an overt person. You got covert and you got overt. Covert, you do it on the DL. Overt, you out there like, I don't care what nobody think. They're very, Yeah, them covert ones be the worst, chosen by Christ. Child, let me tell you. If you don't have spiritual eyes, you won't be able to see this stuff. That's the thing. You won't be able to see it. You won't be able to see it at all. You won't be able to, only when you spiritual, you're the only one able to see certain things, especially when dealing with them covert ones. When you deal with them covert ones, it's very, you got to be in a relationship a while with them to see, because you don't get it at first, because that's how they was able to get you. Yes, that's how they were able to get you, because they came in very deceitful. And that's why I talk about healing, because with coverts, they come in very deceitful. They're very quiet. It's very subtle, and then nobody else can see it but the person that's with them. Yeah, it's very snake-like, very deceptive and manipulative. And see, one thing about relationships, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Y'all can say whatever you want to. I'm gonna tell you the truth. God put it on my heart to tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I got to when he put me on, when he tell me to say something, I gotta say it. That's why God told us to wait until marriage to have intercourse. Because if you wait until marriage and you court, you do your due diligence, you can avoid this stuff. But when you have intercourse, you get that emotional soul tie. And one thing about these spirits, these narcissists, right? Let me tell you one thing about them. They like to move quick. They'll tell you I love you quick. You're in a relationship, In a month, y'all full blown in a relationship. Haven't even gotten to know them. It takes time to get to know people. You shouldn't be in no bed no month, no 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. You shouldn't be quick with nobody like that. That's why God tells us to wait until marriage. He's not doing this so we won't be able to enjoy intercourse. He made that for the married folks. That's why I think it's so many divorces, to be honest. Because we're married to too many people sexually. We're married to too many people. And the reason you are because you didn't have the information. You didn't have this information. Nobody explained to us why not do it. The world made it okay for you to fornicate, then get married. That's not how it should go. That's why divorces are at an all-time high. You should do it God's way. If I ain't learned nothing else, I learned that. You do it His way. And it's okay to start over. It's okay to be celibate and wait and do it His way. Y'all have to consecrate yourself. Get delivered from all them soul ties if you're going to get married again. If that person don't want to go through that journey with you, if they don't want to dedicate themselves and be celibate and do it God's way, that's not your person. But that's why God tell us, so you can avoid these people, these narcissists, so you can avoid these type of people, because they like to move fast, both women and men. And if you're not healed, you'll be moving fast right with them. And then 6 months in it, you're going crazy. You're not even in the relationship long enough to be going crazy. You're going crazy. Feel like breaking up. Like, because you move too quick. I saw one thing. The girl said the boy told her he loved her on the first date. Just met her. How you love me? You don't know if I'm a serial. You don't know if I'm a serial, unaliver. Don't want to say the word. You don't know me. You don't know me. And you talk about you love me? No. You should have told. I should have told her, rebuke that joker. Rebuke him, you spirit. You rebuke that spirit. See, when you're not healed and when you're not whole and you don't know who you are in Christ, you won't be giving your body up so freely. But that's what the enemy wants us to do. That's how we end up in situations, because we're broken. We're looking for stuff. We don't have the father figure who's telling us this stuff spiritually. We don't have a natural father who understands this stuff, because half of the time they be out there doing the same thing to somebody else's daughter. So they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you the right thing. Exactly. That's yes. And that's what the enemy want to keep us in our emotional state. That's why I tell you got to heal. You can't be led by your emotions. But when you emotional and, you got all this romantic, R&B music in the background, and, y'all ain't talking about no substance. You're talking about what's your color, what's your sign. No, what's your character? What's your character? No sign. No, we ain't gonna talk about no zodiacs. We don't do that over here. But we don't be knowing this, because if you don't have a dad in your life to teach you what to look for, to sit down and say, baby, when you get out there, you date, this is what a man should do. A, B, C, D. This is the best man to look for. You got to look for a man with this character. Ain't no swag. Ain't looking for no junk with no swag and no what that junk is. They talking about all this surface stuff. How are you emotionally? Are you emotionally intelligent? Can you hold a conversation? Can you disagree with me without getting mad at me because I don't agree with what you agree with? Is my no gonna send you into a little Tasmanian devil because I told you no? No. And we don't be knowing this stuff because, yes, how do you handle pain and how do you handle loss? Like, this the important stuff. You know, swag. Oh, he smell good. He dress good. Oh, the devil he know how to dress that outer. She know how to dress the outer. That's why God tell us to test the spirit. He didn't tell us to find out whether or not the man go to church and how often he go to church. He ain't tell us to see if he's on the usher board. No, he said test the spirit of a man. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly, Dominique. Mm-hmm. But see, you live and learn. We don't be knowing. If we didn't have, like I said, if we didn't have a dad telling us, especially us women, a lot of us just out here trying to figure it out because we didn't have a father. I was one of them that didn't have one there telling, I spent time with my dad, but he wasn't teaching me. That's the thing, because we could have fathers in the home. I had my grandfather in the home, both homes, because both of my grandparents raised me on my mom and dad's side, but they were busy working. They were not teaching. They were not teaching grandparents as far as, oh, my grandmother took us to church, but the teaching didn't come from the home as far as from my grandfather. This is how to date a man. This is, and then sometimes you see you see how the men are in your family, and you think that's what type of man you should have, but you come to find out it's more to that than having a man who works every day. It's more to marriage than having a working man. Yeah, that's true too, Chosen, but we can't always use that as an excuse. That's what I'm saying. You got to be able to get the information. They got to be willing. That's why we're supposed to seek wisdom from. That's why they're supposed to seek wisdom from God. He'll guide them and show them. One thing about God, He gonna teach. He gonna talk to you. You don't have to go. You don't have to go to church for Him to talk to you. You don't have to be in no church for God to talk to you. Yeah, He be wanting us to seek Him, but that's what they're not doing, and that's true. If they don't know, I could agree. But that's why you ask. I don't be who. I ask in a minute. Yes, Dominique, they lazy, don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to hear the truth, and that's They really don't. Excuse me. They really don't. I just ate 4 mangoes, big mangoes too. I think that was being greedy, but they were good. I think that was being greedy. I ate 4 big old mangoes. My old neighbor, and the lady who did my pillow, she has a mango tree. They gave me about 4 or 5 mangoes, and then my old neighbor brought me a bag of mangoes. Hi, Michael Jackson. Oh, I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Thank you. But yeah, and that's the thing. We can't be lazy. And I know it's hard. God knows it's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and act as if it's not hard. It is hard because we're so consumed. And that's what the enemy wants. We're so consumed with television. Now we got phones. We got this. We got that. We're so distracted. And that's why we can't focus on what we need to focus on. And not only are we distracted with these devices, now first it was people. First it was people. Right? And then Now we got these devices, computers, iPhones. We're just distracted. And that distraction is taking up our energy. So we can't focus on what we need to focus on. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of these men and women too now. I'm not just saying, I'm not blaming men. Don't come here and listen as if I'm blaming men, because I never do that. I'm not saying it's your fault, right? I'm just coming talking about the structure, what God order says. And I'm not coming to you all with this, this energy, this masculine energy, talking about you. That's not what I do. But another thing I was going to talk about is with men, and a lot of them need to be delivered, this spirit of perversion that is on men, that's keeping y'all distracted, dealing with this porn. This is running rampant in men and young men. That's a form of distraction. That's a form of self-gratification that these spirits taking hold of the men. And they're not able to focus on what they need to focus on. And it is a battle. It's a battle. I don't know what's been let loose over this land. And I know it's been going on. People struggling with, porn and stuff. But now it's like an epidemic. Yes, that's a decision you made, Dominique. Both of my parents did drugs, and I never touched a drug. And that's why I tell people it's a decision you got to make. You don't have to do and become your parents. You don't have to do what they do. It's a decision that you got to make. That's with everything. That's why I teach my kids, whatever decisions y'all make, whether good or bad, there are consequences with that. Consequences. Consequences. You got to make a decision. Your decisions can make or break you. You got one time to make the wrong decision. And guess what? That's it. Exactly. Hopefully they're not too large, Patty. Because one decision, I knew this young boy. Grandmother was doing the best she could with them. Yes, that's how they learn. But you don't want them to end up behind bars for life. Yeah, or something like that. Because the enemy is after them. But I never forget this one kid, young kid. Never saw him in a negative light, but when you go to hang around certain people, that's another thing people don't understand. Like the old folks used to say, birds of a feather flock together. You can be a good kid, raised up in a good home. But if you don't choose your friends wisely, you're going to end up in the wrong place. If you don't choose your surroundings. He ended up robbing somebody with his friends. This young man I'm thinking about, he ended up going to rob somebody with his friends and ended up killing that man. He pulled the trigger, ended up killing that guy. And he didn't even have to do any of that. He didn't even have to be with those people who he was with, because his upbringing was different from the kids he was hanging around. But for some reason, we feel like we need to be around, people who are doing wrong. We're kind of enticed by that for some reason, especially the young generation. They like this thuggish mentality and thuggish behavior. They like that. They like this hip hop. I guess it's because of the music too. They like that type of lifestyle and stuff. It's not cool to be, a upstanding citizen. It's not cool to wear your pants and got on a belt and you look like somebody. Everybody want to look like they hip and they cool and swagged and, you know, no. No. He did. He did, Patty. He did. And that boy is in prison for life. That young man got life. And I think about him every so often, too. Every so often I think about him like, didn't even have to be with that group. But they listen to this music. And I know the music affects them. You know why? I used to listen to it. I didn't listen to trap music. And see, I don't come on here acting like I'm religious and sanctified. I'm just talking from wisdom. And I mentioned it before in one of my other videos. I used to listen to Trick and Trina. Trick Dad and Trina. So I try to teach my children, like, you got to be careful what you listen to. And when I would listen to Trick Dad and Trina and all this R&B, certain R&B songs, it did get me feeling a certain type of way. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm not going to sit here and be like I'm a saint. No, I ain't going to do that. And then music get on you in these beats and you feeling like you sure enough. You just moving and like you sure enough could do something. And just imagine they sitting there, they listen to that music all day. I'll do this, I'll do that. And that make them feel like they want to do that. Whatever the music is telling them, ministering to them. Because believe it or not, it's ministering to them. And everybody like, oh, I'm not affected by it. No, you may not be. You may not react on a conscious level. But if you keep listening to that music, that stuff get into your subconscious. And whatever get into your subconscious is hard to get out. It's hard to get out. So therefore, you may automatically go to thinking about something because it's in your subconscious mind. People like, oh, it ain't the music, it ain't this. No, we're going to take some responsibility. But at the same time, you tell them kids the truth. Tell them children the truth. It is the music. Oh, it's just music. No, it's not just music. It's not just music. There was a time when I was growing up. You can go back to your hometown and feel safe. Like, go back to the hood, what we call the hood, and feel safe. Now you go back and you looking like, I don't want to go back there. Because the kids so unruly. Some of them, not all. They're so unruly. Hello, Rebecca Towns. Yeah, they're so unruly, you only want to go back. I remember one time when I was growing up, even the ones used to hang on the streets. I remember the guys used to hang on the streets. You know, they see church people coming by or adults coming by. They be like, shh, they're going to be such and such. Don't be saying that. Shh, Now they see adults passing by, saying all this. Like, no, it's different. It's different now. And I say it's the culture changing. Yes, it is. It's very different now. I know when I first moved to this area, and it's not just the hood, but, I remember when I first moved to the area I live in, I grew up different. And I was in the store. I was in Walgreens, and I'm standing in the line, and I was standing behind a young lady, and there was an elderly lady in front of her. And the lady was old. She was old. She was probably the lady was probably in her, She was probably in her 70s, but she was an old lady, a little frail, little old lady. She didn't look like me. She was a little white lady. Then it was a girl a little white girl behind her, and it was me. And the girl, if she would have sighed one more time, she was like, doing all this here. And I was behind her. I said, now, Lord, you're going to have to deliver me, because she about to catch these hands. I was living right, but see, like I tell people, I'm from the south side of the kingdom. I'm trying to do right, but I'm from the south side. So God's still working on me. He's still working on me. So she was sitting there huffing and puffing. And I know the Lord heard me. I said, if she puff and huff one more time, I'm going to say something to her. So I guess she felt me. And she stopped huffing and puffing. And I'm like, you going to respect your elders. She was going to get one of these old school hood reprimands. Like, if you don't be quiet and let this lady do what she do, if you need to go, just leave the store. Just leave the store. Because if you don't leave, you're going to get drugged out of here. If you don't stop all this huffing and puffing with this old lady. I'm like, Lord, I know he had to deliver me. Because, see, yeah. Because I was raised, you respect the elders. My point was, you respect your elders. Oh, yeah, she probably did. Because I'm like, if she huff, I'm a puff. She going to puff. She going to be out there gasping for air. For real. I'm like, I'm just looking at her. I know she felt them eyes. I'm like, Lord. And I'm like, you got the little voice over here and the other little voice, God trying to, Holy Spirit got the, they ain't gonna lie, the enemy came right over here. Talking to him on this shoulder and like, just chill. Because I'm like, I don't know if I could take this. But that's my upbringing. And I was taught, you respect the elders. Yeah. But she was about to get it. But these kids are different. They're different. They're different. I'm going to just say that. Some of them, you can tell the ones who've been taught by their parents, and you can tell the ones who just letting the internet teach them. You can tell. You can tell. You can tell. And then it's so hard, especially when you see your children in school and you're trying to, it's no patience, Patty, girl. It was no patience. I'm like, Lord, you brought me up on the south side of the kingdom. So you're going to have to understand. When this one go down, you're going to have to forgive me. Ooh, but no, she stopped puffing because I sure was going to be like, I surely was like, ooh. And the lady she was an old little lady. You can tell she frail. She was just shaking. I don't know if she had Parkinson's. The old people get frail when they're, I don't be liking that. I was trying to see why. I was watching her, the lady too, to make sure, if she needed help or anything, to try to help her. But, but she was lucky. Nope, not many villages, chosen by Christ. 40. Yeah, we need a village. I really miss, that's what I can appreciate by growing up. Although it's not, people, because we don't, see, sometimes we forget and we lose appreciation for certain things, the simple things. Like I was watching this girl, I don't know her name, but I know she's from Uganda. She's from Africa. And I know some of her traditions, how, what is this girl's name? I don't have my other phone. But some of her traditions, what she was talking about, I say, I know my ancestors. I know them are some of my ancestors' traditions. I don't know if my ancestors are from Uganda. I didn't do my ancestry, but I know, of course, African heritage. But some of the things she was talking about with her village and, how they unite and stuff, I remember that's how my grandmother was. My grandmother was. She was like, talking about if she needed a pinch of salt, she can go to her neighbor, because she talks about being in the village and being in, modern society. I think she go to London. What that place called? Is it London? England. I think she go to England. Yeah, England. And I guess she's there for work or something, but she compared England to being back in her village. And some of the things that she was saying, I could relate to because that's how I was raised too. Like, you raised in that community. Like she said, her kids are her neighbor's kids, and her neighbor's kids are her kids. And they look out for each other. And I'm like, that's how we grew up, with that sense of community. So I was able to relate, and I like watching her shorts and her videos and stuff. So, yeah, I was able to relate. But that village, you need that village. You need that village. And I was talking to one of my friends, and we take this stuff for granted, though, in our community. I was talking to one of my son's friends, and he from upstate New York. Upstate, way upstate, where you don't have too many people. He said that didn't look like me. So, he said he moved to Florida because he didn't want his boys to be raised how he was, because the world is changing, and the world is not just all white. There's the world is multicultural now. So he was like, he didn't want to raise his children. This is a wealthy family. He didn't want to raise his children how, bring his children up how he was brought up. He wanted his children to be more diverse. But anyways, he was saying that one thing he appreciated about, because we don't know. We only could assume until we talk to people, He said one thing he appreciated about our community, the Black community, is it was a community. We had that sense of community. Like, we had that sense of unity. And we did. I don't think it's like that now, but we did. I remember there was a sense of unity. You can go, to your neighbors if you need help. I remember when people died and they didn't have life insurance, it wasn't nothing to be ashamed of how it is now, But it was like, I remember the little brown paper bag used to be passed around. Take this to such and such. You take the little brown paper bag, and people, put in their money to help with funeral services. Right? Because it really was a community. They really didn't have a lot of the resources we have now, like with getting a life insurance. Now, I don't say y'all do that now. You shouldn't be doing no GoFundMe now. You should be able to get your little small policy. Get your little small policy and keep it up. Keep it up. But back then, I remember people bringing back corn and bringing back food. Like, I got some extra beans. You want these beans? Just, yeah. I remember that. Those are good memories. Those are good memories to remember. Yep, excuse me, y'all. I'm picking all in my face. Yeah, those are good memories to remember. And I remember with my grandmother on my dad's side, she used to do this. She used to cook, and it was only her. It was only survival villages. And that's how I didn't know I was poor, or what they consider poor or low income, until I got in the 4th or 5th grade, maybe 3rd. Still didn't feel like I was poor because we had stuff. That was the world's definition of poor. God provided. Had a roof, food, clean clothes. That's not poor. That's more than enough. And I stopped speaking that over myself too. It's probably low income, but it's not poor. But I remember my grandmother on my dad's side, it was me. It was her, my grandfather, and my 2 boy cousins that lived in the house. But I would come like every summer or the weekends. I used to go the weekend. It did. It really did. Now we all chaotic. Yeah, it was different. That's why I said in the other video, we can't compare times, because the village is not there anymore. We can't compare times. The village is not there. The village don't died off. All the big mamas and the aunties and the grandmothers. Yep. They did. They really did chosen by Christ. They cared. They really did. Now it's like, whatever. And then you got these divisive ones that always want to create chaos. They don't want unity. Hell don't got in them and the family. And some of these so-called big mamas, hell don't got in them. Jealousy and hell. They want to create division. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to create division. Yeah. But it was only my grandfather, my two cousins. Like I said, I would go every on the weekend. And I wonder why my grandmother used to cook these big old pots, like these big soup kitchen, meals. She used to cook these big old, um, she used to cook these big old pots of food, them soup kitchen pots. And people used to come by. Oh yeah, they do, Patty. They really do. Excuse me. Excuse me. I hope y'all didn't hear that. They really do. Exactly. 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 And see, you don't want to do that, Um, you don't want to do that, but when they acting evil like that, that's what you have to do. And that's what's happening to people. That's what's been happening to people. That's why people have been walking away, going and getting married and getting their own family and children, raising their own family, walking away. Because when people can't control you, that's what they'll do. They create chaos. And they try to turn your kids and stuff against you, turn people against you because they can't control you, or you don't want to continue on certain family traditions and norms and stuff, Yeah. But I remember my grandma used to have these big old soup pots, and I never watched. I always wondered, I'm like, why this lady cook all this food? There's only 4 of them. But people used to come by and eat. Somebody always came by to eat. Anybody who wanted something to eat, she let them go in their kitchen. As long as they washed, the thing they had to do is wash their hands. You're going to have to wash your hands first. Go wash your hands, baby, and you can go and get you something to eat. Half of the times, I used to be fixing it. But if I wasn't there or she had me doing something else, they'll have to wash their hands and they can fix them something to eat. She kept food. Anybody in my cousin's friends, I remember this lady too used to stay with her. This lady, she used to stay on the streets. She used to stay on the streets, and she ended up coming to stay with my grandmother. But they said that my granddaddy girlfriend. I don't know how true that is. Listen, I don't know how true that is. I don't believe that, but and they said that was my granddaddy girlfriend. But this lady, but she let this lady stay with her. Ain't no telling, back then. They did what they had to do. But I don't believe I ain't never saw them. I used to be there all the time. I never saw nothing odd, But my cousin's friends knew they had something to eat. They always knew they had something to eat. They knew if they were hungry and they want to go to no fast food, they stopped right by my grandmother's house and got them something to eat. She kept food in the house. One thing she said, we wasn't going to go hungry. She kept food, kept cooked food, kept frozen food. All her deep freezers stayed, filled with frozen peas and corn and pre-cooked food. She used to love cooking her. She could have sold that corn too. I wish I would have got her recipe how she did it. She used to get a lot of corn and she used to cut it off the cob and season it and fry it with bacon. She used to fry it up. And she used to fry it up and freeze it. I didn't know you can freeze bread. I learned you can freeze bread from her when I was younger. I'm like, I didn't know you could freeze bread because I never saw anyone freeze bread. My grandmother was the first person I saw put bread in the freezer. I was young, so you don't know. You don't know. So, yeah. But my grandmother, yeah. And I watched her. I guess that's why I'm a giver, and because I watched her do it. Yeah, she got a good heart. I never saw her throw it up in nobody's face. I never heard her say, I did it for you. I never heard her say, I lent you money last week. I never heard her say, she just was a giver. I never heard her say no. If she had it, she'll give it to you. I never heard her, try to manipulate people to get them to do stuff. Yeah, I never heard her say, I did this for you last week. Do this for me. And she didn't have that heart. I was blessed. I'm telling you, I was blessed to have my grandmothers. I was blessed to have my grandmothers. Yeah, she was always blessed. She really was. She really was chosen by Christ 40. Always blessed. She was always blessed. Yep. I really got that from her. I learned that heart that she had. Yeah, that heart that she had. You know, she wasn't perfect, but I saw her give and do a lot. Yeah, I saw her give and do a lot. Let me get I got to go get my charger. My phone's about to go dead. Hold on. I'm here, you all. Got to get my charger. I forgot I'm just talking. I forgot I wasn't supposed to be on here long. I had to get my portable charger. Probably should have charged it up in the wall. Oh, thank you, Dominique. Let's see if this is a charger. I don't think this charger. Let's see if it's charging. But yeah. Yeah, you all. I don't know if that's charging or not. Hold on, let's see. Be back. Hold on. I'm here. Let's see. See if it's in this wall here. I'm gonna have to get my other. I don't think this thing is working. Well, let's see. Cause I definitely don't see it charging. It's not really vibrating. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Oh, it's charging. But yeah. Oh, thank you. But yep, you all. So y'all forgive y'all daddies and stuff. Even if you have to distance yourself. Yeah, even if you have to distance yourself, just do that. Yeah. But I'm glad I came here to be able to talk with you all. Y'all can ask me a question if y'all want to. And I'll answer it if I can. Yeah, my grandmother was always, I was blessed to have her. I was so blessed. I was like, I was blessed. Yep, I was blessed that, you know, she was a part of my life. We used to go fishing together. I used to go with her and my grandfather. This is on my dad's side. 19. I was 19 years old. I was 19, Dominique. Yep. And he was 41 when he passed. I looked at his death certificate a few years ago. And I just cried. I'm like, dang, my dad was young. Yep. He was young. Oh yeah, he know who to send. Chosen by Christ, 40. He really do. Both of my grandparents. My mom's mom, she was real sweet too. Yeah, she used to always tell us stories about how things were like 10 cents and a penny. You know, when they were coming up, how they used to go to the store and buy things. We used to love hearing those. I used to love hearing those stories. I have two. I have two sons, 12 and 22. Yep. I have two babies, two sons. Actually, I have 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys. I know I don't look like it. Everybody say, you don't look like you had that many. Yep, I have 4. You have a lot of babies. I started early. I always wanted 10, to be honest. I always wanted a family of 10. I did. I'm not going to lie. Because I come from a big family. And it was always, fun to have people around. And I just wanted to. People look at me like, you want to have what? Yeah, 10. Yep. I think God preserved me, Dominique. After all I've been through, I think he preserved me. He preserved my youth. I had someone to tell me that. Yeah, I had someone to tell me at church one time. This guy ministered to me and told me that after I got through sharing my testimony at church, I was, that I was going to. He was like, yeah, God preserved your youth. Mm-hmm. Oh, I hope y'all didn't hear my stomach growling. My food digesting the mangoes. Mm-hmm. Yep, I started. I got a 22-year-old, 20-year-old, 18, and 12. The little last one. Y'all keep me in prayer. That's all I can tell y'all. Keep me in prayer. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I could with that last one. That last one, he got a mouth on him. He got a mouth on him. And I'm telling him he just can't say, whatever he wants, how he wants, when he wants to, Trying to teach him to have some decorum. That's our favorite word for me and my daughter. Because we tell him you don't have no decorum. So we try to teach him to have some decorum and be wise when he speak and say things. Children, they just feel like they can say whatever comes to mind. And then if you don't teach them they can't do that, they're going to keep doing it. So we try to teach them. You ask me, what do I think about being a grandmother? Not at this age. I don't want to be no grandmother. Well, I do not want to be a grandmother. Not at this age. I want to be a healthy grandmother, but I don't want no Oh yes, Pat, I'm trying to guide him, honey. I'm trying to guide him and direct him. But he's getting better. He used to be, he came into this world feisty. He came into this world feisty, so I'm trying. You know how you have kids, like with my first 3, the first 3 made it so easy. I'm not saying that he's a terrible kid or nothing like that, but the first 3, they were different from this last one. The last one, he was like, oh, you had it made with the first 3, so now I'm going to show you what real parenting is. Listen, so now he said, I'm going to show you what real parenting is. Because my first 3, I could take them anywhere. I remember one time I used to take them out to eat all the time. It was just me and my kids. My husband was working at the time. And then it was me and my children. I used to take them out. People used to always compliment me on their behavior, how they were so well-mannered. And, how they were so well-mannered. And the one lady, like, if I didn't know any better, I wouldn't have thought that you had children with you. Because they were just good kids, With this last one, I took him out one time, and I said, no, ma'am. I said, no, ma'am. He was crawling all under the seats, looking all. He's standing all over in the little, what them things called? What they call the little seat, the little areas with the let's see, he was standing all up, crawling around like he ain't got no home training. I say, no, we got to get some more training before we take you out again, baby. I thought I was able to do him like, yes, I thought I was able to do how I did with the other three. The other three, they didn't give me no issues. I had good kids, good children. And to my oldest, he turned 19 and he want to do what he want to do. So I let him do what he want to do. He's 22 now, so he's grown. But he didn't give me no problems. My kids didn't give me any issues. Yep. To that one turned 19, it's kind of like the aliens picked them up or something. I let them carry him on. Because he got to figure his way. He got to figure his way. At first, I was confused and hurt by it. But God started giving me wisdom. He gonna have to find his way. You know, you can't always be. I realize that's why I talk about parenting. You know, I talk about it because I experienced, my own journey. You can't always try to save your children. They're gonna have to go through their own thing. The only thing you can do is pray for them and hope their eyes be open, and hopefully they give their life to God, and because they have to get their own salvation. They can't be riding off like some of us, we want to ride on the coattails of our grandmother. No, you got to get to know God for yourself. You got to get to know God for yourself. But my three, they didn't give me no issues. That last one, Lord, I stay in prayer. We putting the oil on him when he sleep, anointing his feet and stuff. I got one of them ones. Anointing his feet, pleading the blood of Jesus over him, speaking life to him. He will, Jesus. he increasing my faith. Oh, that little boy increasing my faith, but he's fine though. He's fine. He's a good kid, but he sure is increasing my faith. Exactly. He be sleep, be waking up, smelling like palm olive. What is it? Olive oil, palm olive oil, smelling greasy, looking greasy. Yeah. You trying to train them. Listen, I'm for real, Kiosha girl. Listen. Okay, go any kind. Give me some oil. Anything that's anointed so I can put on them. And I just be trying to speak truth to them. Tell them the truth. As you know, these kids, they got this internet now. And they got, what are they? YouTube shorts trying to teach them. No, you can't be believing everything on the internet, baby. Put that phone down. These kids are addicted to these phones. But I be like, Lord, just Lord, give me the strength and the patience. We need new strategy. That's why I have to ask for wisdom. We need new strategies to parent these children nowadays because they got Google. Yes, they got Google. They be going to Google. They don't be asking you stuff now. They go to Google. Google said. I remember my son had a sore throat. It was around the time COVID and all these little different bugs was going on. No, this was about 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. He ended up getting a sore throat and he couldn't talk. And he don't Google. Then he got laryngitis. He don't Google. That's what he had, and told me to go get him some popsicles to soothe his throat. And I'm like, how do you know that's what you have? You didn't get a diagnosis. You don't went to Google. Don't diagnose yourself and don't gave yourself a prescription and everything. That's not what you do. That's not what you do. That is not what you do. So I just had him start gargling with Listerine 2 or 3 times a day. And I had him drinking a lot of fluids. Oh, chosen by Christ. He do the same thing the doctor do. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Google. Yes, it did. He sure did, Kelsey. Google. Yes, he did. Google his diagnosis. Freeze pop, this what I got to get, this, and this, and that. And he couldn't talk, so he brought his phone. And he was like, I'm like, boy, if you don't sit down. But he's a character, though. He's a character. We working on that mouth. We working on that mouth, that temper. Working on patience and praying for understanding. Praying for understanding. But he's doing a lot better. He's doing a lot better because these after 2000 babies, after 2010, they're a different breed. You can't use the same parenting tactics that you use. You know, I can't use the same parenting techniques that I use with the other three. I had to come at him with book knowledge, spiritual knowledge, street knowledge. I had to come at him with all three. I had to come at him with all three. Yes, I do. Now my little street knowledge I think I got, I need to start. Yeah, these kids, they when I tell you, they're different. They're different. I don't know if it's the food. Look, I don't know if it's the food. I don't know what it is. And they are different. You know how our parents used to tell us stuff like, I know with my kids, like when our parents used to tell us stuff, we knew implied information. We knew how to read minds. We were psychic. We were hey, chosen by Christ 40. Look, we were almost darn near psychic. I don't agree with psychics, but we read minds. That's just a figure of speech. We knew what our parents want. With these kids, you got to say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All the things you tell them you want, you got to tell them that. Back when we was coming up, we knew. Sometimes parents just look at us and we read minds. We knew what they wanted. That's not a good thing. We can't parent these kids like that. We got to tell them exactly what we want them to do, tell them exactly what they shouldn't do, and explain to them why. When we were coming up, we just knew certain things. We knew certain things. Even when they wasn't saying anything, we knew. We were like, okay, I got it. But these kids told my son, oh, I need you to wash the dishes. You just said wash the dishes. You didn't say sweep the floor, wipe the counters. like, oh, I got to do all that? Yes, it's part of cleaning up. You just said wash the dishes. I did say that. I have to be honest. That's what I said. That's all I said. So now, next time, guess what? I need you to clean up the kitchen. That means wash the dishes, sweep the floor, wipe the counters, wipe off the fridge, mop if it needs to be mopped. I need you to take out the garbage. And when you take out the garbage, come back and put a garbage bag in there. That's what we have to do with this generation. I was talking to a mom. What does it mean when you say I have an old soul? We used to say you've been here before. Just wisdom, Dominique. A person got a lot of wisdom. Yep, a lot of wisdom. That's what that means. You got an old soul. You got a lot of wisdom. It is chosen by Christ. I agree with that. And the food don't even taste different. I mean, the same. You know they're messing with the food. I want to go to a more organic. Exactly. Helping him get popsicles, Patty. Exactly. But it was because he couldn't swallow. It was helping to soothe his throat, you know. Oh, that's okay. Yes, food is it tastes so different. Even like the cereal, although they say it's not healthy to be eating cereal anyways, because of the sugar and all the toxins and stuff. With the cereal, a lot of the stuff changed, the taste. And a lot of it changed to me, started changing like around like when COVID happened. I started seeing like the difference, like in the taste of food. I don't know what they did with it. Yeah, and the dyes chosen by Christ for it. That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I always want to move somewhere where I can start growing my little garden, grow my own food. I really do. I know it's, it'll be some work, but still, that'll give me something to do. I want my own little garden. Yeah. He'll be here. He's gonna be okay. He's a good kid, Patty. Just have to teach him. As part of parenting, can't let Google teach him. Look, can't let him get his degrees and his parents are from Google. Because these kids know. Yep, these kids know. And unfortunately, the school systems are teaching these kids too to be a little rebellious and to feel like they don't have to listen, Oh yeah, he came to test all me. Test the faith that I say I have. He came to test that. I know he did. No, you got to be careful. You ask God to give you patience. Okay, I'm going to show you. You sure you want some patience? And my daughters going to be understanding. Like, Mom, you just let him do whatever. No, I got to have patience with him. He really does with that one. He really does. I know he do. That's why I have to keep him covered. Yeah, with that last one. He showed me that. Because he's been here before. Dominique, that's the word there. He don't been here before. Yeah, it is. And that's why I'm trying to be understanding and patient with him. Because he be asking me some questions. I'll be like, where do you get that question from? How do you know how to ask that question, Mm-hmm. We surely were, Patty. And that's one thing I can say that I did with my children, that I tried to do with all of them. But unfortunately, one of them had some interferences. But I tried to get to where they could come ask me and talk about anything. That's something I didn't want my children to be afraid to. Even if I don't agree or accept or agree with their question or whatever, I always wanted them to come at least ask me, But that little one, he don't have no problem with that. He don't have no problem. Ask me. Sometimes when he asks me stuff, sometimes I just sit there and be quiet before I answer. I think about it. Or when he's ranting about stuff, I just sit there and let him rant. Like, why do I gotta learn this? This have nothing to do with life. How is this going to benefit me when I become an adult? I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, he is right though. To myself, I wouldn't tell him, but I say he is right. He's right about that. Mm-hmm. That's what I be trying to teach him. I be trying to teach him to be responsible, Patty, and to let him know that he got to be in control of his own actions. He can't be blaming other people. How old are you, Dominique, if you don't mind me asking? You can put your range. Don't put your actual age. Just put your range. Yeah, how old are you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patty, honey, we gotta oh yeah, especially if you're talking wisdom at that age like that. Oh yeah, they gonna ask you. Yep, they gonna ask you. My friends used to always tell me that I act like a little old lady because I had so much wisdom, much more. I was more mature for my age because I was raised by my grandmother and I used to sit and talk to her. She used to teach me a lot of things. And they used to call me an old lady. They used to say, you even drive like an old lady. I'm like, I'm not going to be out here trying to get no ticket. I would not be out here getting tickets. And when I did used to get pulled over by the cops, I didn't get tickets. I used to get warnings. And I didn't get pulled over too many times because I'm like, I know how to be respectful. Oh, child, listen, Patty. I saw one. I'm like, Lord, that's why I'm going to start eating the little bananas that grow the little short ones. Exactly. Oh, yeah, Dominique. That's a good thing. That is a good thing, dear. Yeah, because you're not, yeah, Dominique, because you're not presenting how the world wants you to present. I remember with my oldest son when he was younger, he was in pre-K, and this is stuff family do. I remember my son was in pre-K. He used to like wearing his pants, his shirt. I mean, he used to like wearing his shirt inside his pants with his little uniform. He was in pre-K, and I had one of my boy cousins like, take that boy pants shirt out of his pants like that. And take his shirt from out of his pants. I'm like, no, that's how he wants to wear it, and I want him to look like he put together. But culturally, that's just how some of us think culturally. We think wearing your shirt or your pants is lame or square. That's just being proper, being like you have some care about yourself. But you got to be okay with that. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's how my son used to dress in pre-K when he was in pre-K and kindergarten. He'd have a little uniform with his little loafers on. And that's how he wanted to dress. I let him dress like that until he said he didn't want to dress like that no more. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's crazy, Pat. We just with the food, it's almost like Lord, just help us. Cheryl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't want to sell wings. KFC, I heard they ain't got no real food. They got that Franken meat over there. They got that fake meat. That's why they changed the name. It ain't Kentucky Fried Chicken no more. It's KFC. Fast food, period. Um, Give me some meat with the bone. Give me a chicken with the bone. I don't want no boneless. Nothing. Don't give me nothing with boneless. And that's why they're saying fast food restaurants are. That's why you shouldn't be eating all that stuff all the time. Especially McDonald's. I don't know if we should. I don't know if I can say it on here, but oh well. Cause them fries. I know they start tasting funny. Mm-hmm. Patty, he sure did. Came here to make me work, girl. I've been working since he came, because he woke up the entire hospital when he was born. Now my son, one of my oldest son tried that, Cheryl. He thought he was gonna be able to disrespect me. I shut that down quick. No, brother, you ain't gonna do that over here. You gonna play with your friends with all that. That's not what we're gonna do. I don't wanna be your friend. I don't wanna be your friend. You find your friends to be your friends. You talk to them. I don't wanna be the cool mom. Because that's how people lose respect for you. Your kids lose respect when you want to be the cool mom. No, we could still be likable and have fun without me trying to be like one of your homegirls or homeboys. No, that's not what we're going to do over here. You go with somebody that want to accept you like that. Yeah, with my oldest one. That's what he thought. The baby, I got to let him. He going to have to figure it out. Yeah, Cheryl. That oldest one, he thought he was going, no. You play with your aunties, them like that. You play with the ones who want to be cool with you. But you ain't going to come. No. You ain't going to come with mommy with all that. Because she don't know she don't know the meaning. Yeah, she don't know the meaning of what being a parent is. And that's the thing, parent, some of us don't got to the point to where we want to be cool friends with our children instead of parents, because you still have to guide them. When they get grown, you still gonna have to guide them to help them make right decisions. You don't just leave them to their own. See, the thing is, though, what I try to tell people, and I try to teach my kids, even with my son, because he have a hard time with listening, the last one. You have to be willing. You have to be open to taking instructions. You have to be open to taking instructions. And you have to be okay with somebody guiding you. Because if you don't want guidance and instruction, that's going to lead you to destruction. And that's what's happening with this generation. Parents are not guiding their children. They're letting their children get it. They don't want to make their children upset. I'd rather make you upset now than you make me upset later. Be mad at me now. Don't talk to me now, because I'm going to stand for truth and tell you the truth, and you'll appreciate it later. I don't want to be your friend. I want you to respect me. I want to respect you. But I don't want you to put me on the level of your friends, because that means that you feel like you could talk to me any kind of way. I don't want you to feel like you could talk to me any kind of way. I can be friendly with you. Because when I talk to my friends, when I call my friends, we relaxed and laid back. We saying stuff, talking and saying stuff like what we say. We talking about things and saying things that friends talk about. So I'm not trying to win you over as far as you being a friend to me or me being a friend. No. I have the title of mom. I'm your mother. And I'm going to guide you and tell you the truth. I'm not going to be your friend with like, oh, they shouldn't have did that. Because your friends are side with you. If your friends love you, they'll tell you the truth. But some of your friends are side with you. They know they're wrong for that. They shouldn't have did. Some of your friends are side with you. They'll take your side because they're your friend. No, I'm going to be your mother. I'm always be your mother. I'm going to tell you the truth. Yes, I am. And you can be mad at me all you want to, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Yes. But yeah, you all. We don't talk about some of everything. I don't know what I'm going to rename my title to. We don't talk about some of everything on here. Everything. But yeah, I got to teach some kids to be willing to take instruction. Because these children don't want instruction. They want to do what they want to do. Live how they want to live. They want to YOLO. You only live once. No, that's not true. Patty, you got a lot of little sayings. They say they grown chickens, no heads, no feet. Yeah. Listen, you got to look. Listen, Patty. We know we're not going to be friends. We're going to have mom and son, mom and daughter relationship. Because when I see you out of order or out of pocket, my job as your mother is to correct you. Not see you head down a road, a path of destruction, and say, hooray, keep going. No, that's not my job. My job is to bring you correction. And bring it swiftly. Yes. That's my job. That's when you know a person loves you. See, parents have gotten to a point to where we think like is love. Because some of y'all don't like y'all children. Be honest. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Some of y'all don't like y'all children. Some of y'all don't like y'all kids. But you love your child. And you don't want to see them walk into destruction. You don't want to see them head in destruction. And parents, family members, grandmothers, aunties, they got that mixed up. They think because they like their loved one, they love them. No, you don't love them. You like them, but you don't love them. Because if you love them, you will tell them the truth. You will bring correction. Like my grandmother did me. She always brought me correction. She always brought me truth. And that saved me. That gave me the wisdom. And I listened to her instruction. I listened to her instruction. I got mad at her, but I came back and realized this wisdom that she loved me. She's correcting me. She loved me. That's what we've gotten twisted. As family members, we think because we like our brother, our sister, our mom, our dad, we think because we like them, we think we love them. You don't love your family member. You don't love your sibling. You don't love your child. You don't love them if you see them doing something destructive. If you see them heading down the wrong path. Because plenty of us has done this. I'm guilty of it. We see our loved ones doing things that are not, yes, we see our loved ones doing things and acting in ways that they shouldn't be, and no one correct them. We say, oh, they grown. They got to live their life. Let them live. That's them. No. If you love them, you'll bring correction. You'll tell them what you're doing is not right. You'll tell them that if you love them. You'll tell them that. But yet, this is what we do. We see our loved one doing things that's going to bring on destruction to them. And when the destruction comes and it doesn't turn out right, the first thing we want to say is we should have said something. I didn't say nothing. You regret it because you didn't correct them. When you correct and you bring correction and something happened, you have no guilt. You have no guilt because you know you did your part. You said something. They just didn't take heed. We always like, something told me I should have went round there, something, all this. We have this regret. But when you know you spoke the truth and you came in love and correction, you can throw your hands up and sleep peacefully. Because you brought correction. You told the truth. You spoke and tried to talk some sense into them. And sometimes those people do a 360 because of something you said. And they will always remember that you said what you said. You the only one stood up and told me the truth. Everybody else watched me head for destruction and then say nothing. No. No, some of your friends are not. No, some of your friends are not your friends. Yeah. Because they want, sometimes people want you. You know what the sad part is? Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to get off here because we'll be on here all night. The sad part is, some people know you're heading down destruction. And they can see where you're going to end up. They can see you're heading down destruction. Down the road to destruction. And they'll let you go because they're hoping that you will keep going down that road. They are hoping you keep going down that road. That's why, like the chosen ones, that's why people be angry with the chosen ones. They be angry with us because we had people to see us heading down the road of destruction. And they wanted us to keep going down that road. But God always sends us a ram in the bush. He always sends people like grandmothers, teachers, somebody to speak life into you, someone to prophesy to you. That's where most of us get our turnaround, because God has sent a prophet to speak into our lives and tell us what we're going to be. And that'll get us on the correct path. That's what happened to me. When you have somebody to speak into your life, to tell you where they see your, where they see you going, or what God told, where God told what God told them to tell you, and only you knew. That's prophecy. That's prophecy. Yes, Patty. Sometimes parenting is tough love. Parenting is tough love. We think parenting is easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But one thing you got to learn, you have to learn to get the wisdom from God to know how to operate and navigate and get through the hard times, because the hard times are going to come. Children are not going to always do what you want them to do. And your children have to understand you're not going to always do what they want you to do. You're not going to always be who they want you to be. Because sometimes our children can put us on this pedestal as if we're perfect, and you have to remind them, you're not perfect. I want my kids to see I make mistakes. I don't want them to see me how we saw our parents. And that's why we got upset with them, our parents and grandparents, because we never saw they made everything seem so easy and perfect. And that's not life. That's not life. Yeah, they do. They always. Yeah, we are the Joshua generation, Cheryl. We the Joshua generation. Right here. I think we are. I think we are. Our ancestors only took us so far. We the ones that's gonna walk into the promised land. That's what I think. I don't think it's the next generation. They're gonna see us walk into it, and they're gonna eat the good of the land. That's how they're gonna start believing more. We're strong enough. We're stronger. I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe we're stronger than the next generation. Excuse me. I hope y'all didn't hear that. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh yeah, that weighty ass Patty. Yep. But you got to trust. Look, you got to trust your prayers are going to work. And you got to go to the root of stuff. And the root is going to them generation of curses. And that's the reason I think like my grandmother, that's the reason I think she didn't see with my mom's mom and with my dad's mom too. I think that's why she didn't see that, because our ancestors, they was only doing the best they could with the knowledge they had. But they didn't understand, because they had their old upbringing. What happened with them, like my grandmother, I don't think she saw a turnaround in her children because she didn't go to the root of it. She didn't go to the root cause of the issue, which was generational curses. Because a lot of our ancestors were religious. They were religious, and they brought a lot of their traditions and mixed it with their belief, which they were not supposed to do that. They mixed some of the tradition with with believing in God. They never did let go of some of their tradition. As far as, I'm not talking about forgetting culture, because we'll say you can't leave your culture. No, I'm talking about tradition, like ways of doing things. Because a lot of our ancestors, they believed in God and they believed in the other stuff too. They believe in putting them eggs up in the door. Them eggs ain't have nothing to do with no child walking. Where did they get that from? Have any of y'all did that? Y'all know y'all grandmother did that? Eggs on the door to help the baby walk. Brown paper bag on the forehead. Putting a little black string to keep away bad spirits. All that stuff. Them traditions. Where do they get that stuff from? Let's talk about them. Where do they get that stuff from? You know what I'm saying? I've done some of it. I had to repent for it. When God brought it to my memory. When he brought it to my memory, I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with God and what he's, because you have to undo this. We have to undo some of this stuff. So I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with, you don't want to just dismiss like your traditions, what your ancestors did and how they lived. You don't want to dismiss this stuff, but you go back to the Bible, you got to see that none of this stuff ain't got nothing to do with where we get this stuff from. Come on now, where we get this stuff from. I had to repent for that. Black string, especially that black string, I had to repent for that. I'm like, Lord, ain't tell them what spirit I don't invite it to keep them bloodline curses going, because you don't put the black string on them darn children, talking about keeping away bad spirits. And we just do stuff and don't question it. Tell the truth, shame the devil. We did a lot of things that we didn't question it, because we were taught not to question stuff. Yes, Dominique. And I thought about a lot of stuff we used to do, like my grandmother did. Although she was a devout believer, I thought about a lot of stuff she did, but it was part of, their traditions and stuff. So if you don't pray and cancel that stuff out, you're going to continue it on with your children. And I wonder how she could go to church all them years. I'm be honest, transparent. I wonder how she go to church all them years, and my mom and her sons and children, they never came to, they never got out of the struggle they were in. My mama battled a lot spiritually, mentally. Uncles, aunties. Yeah. And I wonder, I'm like, even I was young, I'm like, well, how she, like, I knew it was something deeper. And I didn't get this from the Bible. I knew God put something in me, and I knew it was something deeper. I'm like, it got to be something deeper. Something's not right. You bring your little head. I'm young. I'm in my head. I'm like, something's not right. My grandma go to church. She loved God. Lord, what is wrong? I'm sitting there looking like, it's got to be something wrong. Me in my own little head, young head, trying to figure out. I'm like, it got to be something deeper. This got to be deeper. I'm questioning, then, they say you don't question God. Then you going, you want to ask the pastor something, or ask somebody who's supposed to be spiritual, right? You ask somebody supposed to be spiritual, but they don't know, and you think they supposed to know because they got all these theological degrees. Them people don't be knowing. They only know what they're taught. They only know what they're taught. And they're taught, half of them taught the same thing that really don't be making sense. Come on now, let's tell the truth, shame the devil. And then if you ain't got no credentials, people looking at you like you don't know nothing. And you sitting there putting two and two together like, yeah, you don't need no credentials to see something ain't right here now. You don't need no masters. You're like, you don't need no master's degree. Or no, there's no 2 + 2 ain't equaling 4 over here. But anyway, yeah, I just knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. I'm like, my grandmother loved God. But yet, you know, what's going on with her, you know, with her children? Is it them being disobedient? They're not following, you know, laws and statutes, or like I just had questions, right? But we'll talk about that another time. I just knew something was deeper, and it is deeper. It's not just religion. It's not just you believing. You got to get to the root of stuff. But I'll talk to you all. I got to get out if I got to go. Happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth is tomorrow, so happy Juneteenth for the ones who celebrate. And y'all be blessed. It is. It's so different, Cheryl. We just, you know what? I'm asking God to give me, especially with the food, just give me. I really want the land and the resources. Just give me. I just need enough to grow enough food to survive for myself. And then they talking about some of the seeds are genetically modified. I'm like, Lord, we can't win for losing. Lord, you're going to have to come fix this. Fix it, Lord. Show me to the right people. Right? Show me to the right people in the right place. Because the enemy he really is up to something. That's what I can say. We just got to be spiritually and mentally equipped. That's all. We have to be spiritually, mentally equipped, and we have to teach. We have to get these kids mentally equipped because, you know, we can handle things. But can our children handle what's to come if we're not here? Are they spiritually fortified? Because I know I can handle pretty much anything. I can handle some things. I can get through some things without losing my mind. I know I can stand. I can endure. I've already made up my mind about things, so I can endure certain things. I can do without certain things. But can our children endure? And can they do without certain things without feeling like they have to bow? I know I can. But can our children do it? And unfortunately, they're going to have to work out their own salvation. They're going to have to work it out. They're going to have to do the work. Unfortunately. Because moms, if we can do it for them, we'll do it for them. Let's tell the truth, shame the devil. We'll do it. We'll be right there trying to get them on in. Talking to the Lord, let me holler at you, you know. Lord, let me holler at you. Let me tell you about little Johnny. See what had happened with little Johnny. We'll be right there trying to ease him up. We'll be right there. But let me let y'all go. We've been on here for a minute. Let me let y'all go. God bless. Y'all be well. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Talk to y'all later. Be blessed.